Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chandler Ainsley and I am easily influenced. From the title of this video, I'm sure you can guess what this is going to be. I'm going to be reading book recommendations from TikToks. I'm a little bit nervous, as I should be probably, but BookTok has had such an influence on me recently. I've already picked up a couple of books on my own, not for videos, and I've had a good time experimenting with some of like the smuttier choices that some of BookTok has been recommending me. And I thought what better way to kind of like showcase some of these raunchy choices than making a video and kind of showing you guys what I have found on TikTok, on BookTok, getting to show you, share with you, vlog the experience. It's gonna be a good time. I will say, this is going to be a series of videos on my channel because honestly and truly, every time I'm on the internet, I am just surprised at how easily influenced and gullible I am. Recently, I got an Instagram like targeted advertisement for inline skates, and what did I do? I bought inline skates, and that is just proven time and time again by my spending habits, by my choices. I'm just so easily influenced. So this video series is going to be me just pulling off of all of the really good marketing, I guess, that's out there on the internet, in real life, and I'm going to be bringing it here. I already have the second video in the series planned, and it's gonna be a real doozy. I'm hoping you guys like this one, and I'm hoping that it's a good time this first time around. So without further ado, let me tell you guys the books that I'm gonna be reading. I picked 3 books that I have heard of multiple times on BookTok that are recommended as like these really smutty and different reads. I'm excited about it. I will say, for the record, I was going to pick Den of Vipers for this video because that is one that is just constantly hyped up on BookTok, but I don't think I'm quite ready for that level of like a lot. I'm gonna leave a screenshot actually from a TikTok right here that said that Den of Vipers is akin to sexy Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't think I'm ready for that yet. So I'm going for like slightly tamer but still very like smutty reads. First up we have American Queen by Simone. This has been touted as kind of this like smutty polyamorous read where our main character serves at the pleasure of the vice president or something, or the president, I'm not sure. I think she might end up with both men. Yeah, it's about our main character Greer. She is, I believe, the daughter of a former vice president, and she ends up hooking up with these 2 dudes. I'm very much here for it. I'm very much here to see what happens. I have already read a book by Simone before. It wasn't like my favorite book ever, but I did think she wrote the sexy scenes pretty well, so high hopes for this one. We'll see where it goes. Next up, I have King of the South by Kalia Reed. This is one that I had on my TBR previously. It's the only one of these 3 books that I had on my TBR before this video, and this is supposed to be sort of a post-World War I historical romance set in the United States. I think it's in the South, perhaps. Wow. It's definitely set in the South because it's called King of the South. This one I'm excited about because I have been really on historical romance kick lately, and this one is a non-traditionally published historical, which I thought could be fun because I tend to go for mostly Kindle Unlimited and like just indie romance reads in general. Those tend to be my favorites, so I'm hoping that I can find a new favorite in this book. At the very least, I feel like I'm going to enjoy this one. And then lastly, we have Hate by Tay James. I know very little about this. I just know that it is a reverse harem read, which if you didn't know is a situation where our heroine ends up with multiple different men throughout the story and she doesn't have to pick. It's not like a love triangle where at the end of the day she picks one of the 2 legs of the triangle. She ends up like hooking up with like 4 or 5 guys who are all enamored with her and usually are cool with this sort of like situation. Usually as well, the men or like whoever else is in like the circle of the reverse harem, they don't like necessarily engage in acts with each other. It's usually just like she has multiple different partners, which I think is kind of cool. So I'm interested to see what I think. I have not had the best luck with reverse harem in the past, but I've heard that this is like the best one out there, so I guess we'll see if that's the case. But those are the 3 books that I'm going to be reading. Like I said, I have heard so much about these books on BookTok. I keep getting recommended them over and over again, so I figured it's about time that my easily influenced ass read them. So without further ado, let's get into the vlog portion of this video. You know, choices were made, not all of them good. I was so hesitant to go into this video. I think I told you guys that in the intro. I even decided to switch out a book because I was like, surely, you know, Den of Vipers is just not gonna be my thing. Let me switch that out for American Queen. And was that a good decision? I'm not fucking sure it was. This book is about our main character, Greer. She is the granddaughter, I believe, of a former vice president. She was told by a Merlin, or this guy that she met at a party when she was like 6, that if she kissed anyone, that it would be a bad time for everyone involved. So she just shouldn't kiss anyone ever, which is a very strange thing to say to a young girl. Even more strange that the young girl would take that to heart and listen to that until she was 16, but you know, I digress. I think I think where my issue is with this book is all of it. I'm trying to think of how to say this tactfully and get everything out that I'm trying to say. I think I'm bothered mostly by the fact that our heroine has her first kiss with, I think, the guy that she's going to eventually end up with, or one of the guys that she's going to end up with. I think this might be like a poly thing. She kisses him when she's 16 and he's 26. It doesn't go any farther than that, and he does not have any contact with her. My issue is that it's a little weird because she's a bit of a stalker. She gets his email address, I think from her grandfather or something, and she starts emailing him some of the raunchiest shit that I've ever read. It kind of, you know, I'm sort of maybe able to forgive the kiss that happened, like maybe it was spurred on by her mostly, and she's kind of like not imagining things, but we're only in her head, right? And he doesn't ever follow up with her when she's a teen, which I appreciate. Like, at least we have that going for us. But she is like messaging him, I want you to choke me, I want you to rip my veins out. I'm pretty sure she says explicitly she doesn't want her first time to be boring. It's a lot to handle, and I knew that this was going to be smutty. I've read Sierra Simone before, so I was expecting a certain level of, you know, wow. I was not prepared for that. At the very least, I'm entertained, right? Like, it is so over the top that it's sort of entertaining, but curious to see where the fuck this is gonna go. We're getting dumped between present day and some flashbacks. In present day, she is asked to go see the president by the vice president, and I think we're led to believe that the president and vice president are in a romantic relationship, like kind of secretly, and that she is going to join them in some sort of like freeway type situation. It's a little sketch. It's more than a little sketch. I don't know what to think. I hadn't seen anyone in the reviews really talk about the age thing, and like, I like a good age gap, but I don't really like the power dynamic situation here. It's a little strange, and I know that the like encounters are going to be when she's much older, 10 years older. I think she's gonna be 26. So it's not, you know, that initial encounter was weird, and her insistence on emailing him sexually explicit things is very strange. I'm gonna continue reading. We'll see if this is something that I actually finish, because at this point, I really don't know. I honestly can't decide if I'm just too sensitive or what's up, but like, I'm DNFing this book. I only read like a few minutes more into the book, listened I guess a few minutes more into the book, and I was trying to give our hero the benefit of the doubt, but I just don't think I'm gonna like it. And I read some reviews that said that our hero is kind of creepy, so I just don't think that's like a recipe for success for me. And I'm willing to overlook certain things in smutty books, but I think what it comes down to for me is just sometimes smut should stay smut, and we shouldn't try to put storyline into everything. Shocking, I know. And like, I like storyline, but like not in this instance. I really wish this had just stayed a president, vice president, and like woman triad poly thing. Like, I wish it had just been that 100 pages of smut, call it a day. Because unfortunately, the plot and the storyline is where my issues lie. Let me tell you first what exactly made me want to not read this. First of all, she meets him at a church when she's like 26. He basically says, hey, I'm the president, come see me. And she's like, okay. I sent you sexually explicit emails for a year. I'm still interested in you, let me come. So she comes to the church with the president and the vice president, and he is saying that he couldn't stop thinking about her since the moment he met her, which is like kind of a red flag for me. And then on top of that, he was married for a long time and his wife is now deceased, and he said that he was thinking about Greer when his wife was still alive. He was like, I would lay next to her at night, but I would be thinking of you. That's a no. Nope, I'm good. Disappointing. Very disappointing. And on top of that, a lot of the reviews that I was reading of this book said that the Slavic culture, or like the Polish culture that they try to infuse into this book, is lazily done and very fictional in a way that's like kind of offensive and kind of demonizes that culture. So if you're going to make these choices, if you're going to try to make a book have plot, can we take out the problematic elements? And if you're unwilling to do that, can you just make it a book that is what it is? You know what I mean? Kind of like a kinky, you know, this book is kinky. Now that I'm thinking about it, I had the same complaint when I was reading Sierra Simone's other series, A Lesson in Thorns is the first one, so the Thorn Chapel series. I don't like those books either, because she tries to create this plot where these characters are trying to perform these rituals, and the rituals are just sex rituals. And most of the book is them just spent poring over these books and trying to like make excuses to have group sex. And like, if you want to do that, that's fine, just do that. I don't need this like backstory that is half-baked, and that's kind of what's happening here too. So I'm just upset. I wanted this to be fun, and like, there were elements of this and stuff that I was interested in, for sure. Like, I like a good poly story, and I really like the way that she writes her sexier scenes, so I was all on board for it until all of that stuff happened. So yeah, that's sort of where we're at. I don't know what it is about these like 3-book videos. It always happens that I end up DNFing at least one of these books, and I don't know why it's literally only in the videos where I read 3 books. The 5-book ones, it seems to never happen, but it is what it is. And I knew that that was a risk going into this video, because it is me reading books that I found off of TikTok, and the side of book talk that I'm on is the raunchy side, so I didn't expect much, you know? Like, the most hyped book on that side of TikTok is Den of Vipers, so what did I expect? I think what I'm going to read next is going to be King of the South. I feel like this one has the highest ability, propensity, I'm not sure what word I'm looking for, the highest likelihood of me enjoying it. Let's hope and pray, because I need a good book in here. I'm really hoping that it's good. At least I think Hate by Tay James. I haven't heard bad things about that one either. I don't know, they're both probably gonna be fine, but this one I'm hoping is really good. This seems like something I would have picked up on my own. It was already on my TBR before this video, so let's go into this one and just pray for better days. Let's pray that this book is good. Serving very much grandmother. But you know what? I feel like it sort of works because we're talking about a historical and they didn't have good hair back then either. So I'm about 25% into King of the South by Kalia Reed. I don't know actually how to say that, but we're gonna go with Kalia. I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not hating it, definitely not hating it, but it is definitely not the kind of historical romance that I am used to. And I think that is primarily because while I love indie romance, don't get me wrong, most of the historical romance I read, all of the historical romance I read is traditionally published. Now that's both good and bad because I do personally really enjoy indie romance and I like the liberties that authors can take with what they write as opposed to a traditionally published romance. However, I'm finding that the prose is a little bit meandering in parts, and I think that that could have been maybe remedied with a more critical editor. And that's not to say that this is poorly written or like horrible, but I have found myself multiple times while reading being like, I don't need to be reading this dialogue, there's too much dialogue, which is a rare thing for me to complain about because I love dialogue in romance, but it just is not feeling like a seamless read, I guess. Like I'm being pulled out of the story actively because the writing is, I don't even want to say stilted, it's not poor, it's not like there's grammatical issues or anything, it's just like not gelling with me perfectly. So get that out of the way first. The story itself, I also am not sure how I'm feeling about it. It's not terrible, but I'm not like far enough really to tell if I like either of our characters. So our main characters are, let me look this up because I kind of forgot, Rainey and Livingston. We'll talk about that later. Rainey is our heroine, Livingston is our hero, and Rainey has been told by her deceased brother from her brother's will that his oldest friend, Livingston, will be the executor of his wishes and his will. So essentially, Rainey has been bequeathed this like $60,000 inheritance, which is kind of a lot for 1918, I think, or 1920, whenever the fuck this was set. I think it's around that time. Livingston is going to ensure that she marries within 60 days so that she can get her $60,000 inheritance. That was the stipulation put in place by her brother Miles. You know, you gotta do this, and if not, then all of that money will be sent to charity. And also, we're super poor now, so if you somehow don't get the $60,000, you're sort of fucked. So the motivation for Rainey to find a husband is pretty high, especially since she's got her mother to think about and take care of, so that's sort of the story. Livingston is obviously kind of a player, and he doesn't really want to help Rainey, and Rainey is sort of a terror and like, you know, isn't a traditional Southern gentlewoman, and it's going to be hard to find her husband. And obviously, we're led to believe that Livingston and Rainey are going to have some sort of romantic relationship, and I don't know, I'm just not entirely convinced that they're suitable together. I think we're supposed to believe that they are just based on the fact that they've known each other for so long and that he used to tease her as a kid. There's like an 11-year age gap, by the way. I think she's 28 or 29. I don't know, he's almost 40, or he is 40. So I don't know, there's just not a whole lot there that I'm loving. I'm personally not a huge fan of like older brother's best friend romances. I think they can sometimes work, but a lot of the times I feel like our heroine ends up being infantilized, which I'm not super into, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen here. It has not really happened yet, but I kind of feel like it probably will. On top of that, I don't know, I'm just like not really feeling the sexual chemistry between them. And like, I know we're only 25% in, but I think our author's probably going to try to do a slow burn thing if by 25% we have no hints of them getting together, and I just don't know if that's going to be effective for me. Yeah, I feel like I'm saying a lot of negative things. This is not like a poorly written book, it's not horrible, it's just kind of like more difficult for me to get through than I thought it would be initially, and that's frustrating because like I'm on a time crunch with this video, if we're being completely honest. So I just want to get through this and I want to enjoy it, but I would like to also be able to quickly and easily read it and enjoy it. So that's sort of where I'm at. I will probably update you guys again at 50%. Hopefully that will be today because again, I'm trying to get through with this video quickly, but only time will tell. Oh, I did want to mention Livingston LaCroix. I'm supposed to believe a man with a name like that fucks. Like, I know it's 1919 or whatever, but like, was that tell me that was not a cool name back in the day. Sorry to any Livingston LaCroix out there. It's just like the combo is just not doing it for me. That's all. I'm gonna get back to reading. You know, I'm not gonna DNF another book, but I want you to know that I want to. I desperately want to DNF this book. I'm 50% into King of the South, and it's been a long time since I've read a book this boring. It's not even that nothing's happening, although that is part of it. It's just that the characters are so dull, the writing is so just mid-tier, the feeling that I'm getting is just so lacking. Y'all let me down. book talk, you let me down with this recommendation. Now this was one that was not as hyped up as the other picks, but y'all hyped it enough to where I was excited to read it, and it's not steamy, it's not that fun. The most sexual chemistry or tension that we've had is them writing on each other's hands with their fingers, you know, like decipher the message type shit when they're at the movie theater together. Like, that's all I'm getting from this. That's it. That's absolutely it. So at least, you know, I'm hoping that this is making for entertaining content. At least someone's enjoying it, but I'm not enjoying my time reading this book. I think my only hope at this point is that we're gonna get some sort of like really raunchy, steamy scenes near the end of this book, and she's going to just scream out the name Livingston in pure bliss, and it'll all be a grand old time, and like it'll redeem some of this book for me. But as of right now, this is like a solid 2-star read. I'm just so bored. Let me try to explain, I guess, why I'm so bored. So I don't know how much I told you guys in the last clip. I never remember what I tell you guys in each clip because that's just how I am. But our heroine is obviously trying to find a husband, and our hero is trying to like help her find a husband. He's increasingly not wanting to help because he is realizing that no man is good enough for her. But her, not sister-in-law, but like basically Livingston's brother's wife, Serene, is helping our heroine find a man. So basically they're doing this like bachelor game situation where they find all of the most eligible bachelors in wherever they're living. I literally can't remember. I think it might be in Georgia or South Carolina, wherever. They find all the eligible bachelors and she kind of goes on a series of dates with them. I guess you could, I mean, it's not like The Bachelor, but you know what I mean. She has like a ball. I think there's a ball coming up, and yeah, she's just trying to find a rich man to marry so that she can save her mom and herself. Conceptually, I'm here for it. The execution, not so much, because clearly Livingston is very much into her and he's doing pretty much nothing to prevent any of this stuff from happening. He's just being a little persnickety and bitching at our heroine, and none of it's sexy to me. Like, he is not commandeering enough to where I'm like, ooh, alpha male, and he's also not chill enough to where this is like an unrequited love situation. It's just annoying. It's just annoying enough to like not work for me. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. This vlog I'm sure is going to be exceedingly short because I just do not have many thoughts on this book, but hopefully by the time I finish this I will have just some grand old thoughts to tell you. I doubt it's going to happen, but one can only hope. I swear if Hate by Tay James does not redeem this video, I'm gonna be upset. I love too how in the intro of this fucking video I said, at the very least, King of the South is gonna be the best one. But to be honest, I feel like if I had finished American Queen, I would have liked that more than this, because at least that had some sexy scenes going for it. This has nothing. And I'm not even trying to be a bitch, because it's like, it's not a poorly written book. The plot's not terrible. I'm just so fucking bored. I'm gonna finish this tonight though, and I'm gonna tell you guys about it tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna move on to this reverse harem nonsense that is Hate by Tay James. Yes. Well, today has been hellish, and you know what people in hell need? Ice water. You know what people in hell don't need? To continue to read a book about a guy named Livingston. I am gonna DNF the fuck out of this book. I'm gonna do it because you know what? I love myself and I deserve to not have to finish books that don't make me happy. You know, I always feel super shitty when I DNF a book for a video. Otherwise, like if I'm just reading a book for fun, I really don't think much about it because who's gonna care at the end of the day? Like no one's gonna know that I didn't finish a book. But for a video, it feels like such a waste of time almost to like start a book and completely hate it and not finish it. The completionist in me, I hate that. But at the same time, now that I think about it, I really feel like y'all can learn stuff from me DNFing books, hopefully. Like it's not a wasted effort for me to try something, not like it, and then let you know about it. That was a lot of words. Let's talk about why I'm not gonna finish this book. Beyond the obvious that I already stated, this story was just going nowhere. I kept trying to get past the 50% mark. I got to, I think, 54%, and nothing fucking happened except for like a really kind of awkward, fumbly sexual scene. They didn't like actually go all the way, if you will, but they did sort of do some like bumping and grinding. Didn't like it, and I was hoping that it was gonna get raunchy and it was gonna get fun, and it didn't happen. I'm sure eventually they do consummate their relationship, but it's not gonna work for me. I find it wild because I went and read the Goodreads reviews for this because I was like, I have to be missing something. Like maybe there's something there that I'm not seeing, and it just seems like most of the people who read this thought it was an amazing slow burn romance. And you know what? Maybe I'm just a bitter old hag. That could definitely be it. But I didn't feel that this was a slow burn. I just felt like it was slow and I want to burn it. I didn't think this video was gonna go like this. I mean, I knew there was gonna be at least one book that I didn't love just because, you know, I'm taking recommendations from TikTok, people that I don't even know on TikTok, and how am I supposed to know if I can trust them? But I think the only sort of thing that I can say is if you want a romance that is slow burn, that has a time traveling side character, this could potentially be for you. Also, there's a cat named Chandler, so, you know, if you miss me and you want to read a book with my name in it, that's who I would recommend this book to. That's about it. Okay. Moving on. Let's move on. I'm gonna start in on Hate by Tay James tonight. Hayden is not gonna be home tonight, which is always fun because that means I get to have the night to myself to read books and have a hopefully good time. I think this one could be it. Maybe, fingers crossed, could it be it? Thinking that I might be in the market for something completely ridiculous and reverse harem me. I feel like I kind of didn't market this book very well in the intro of this video. I'm actually a lot more excited to get into this one than I let you believe in the intro. So I'm gonna get into it. Once I get like 25% in, I will update you guys. Okay, so I'm only a chapter in and I don't want to make, you know, some big proclamation, but holy shit, this is already like a million times more entertaining than King of the South and American Queen, to be honest. So it opens up with our heroine, Madison Kate, aka MK. She is at this underground fighting ring, and I was like a little bit hesitant because I feel like that's the opening to so many romances for some fucking reason. These girls end up falling for these fighters, and usually for some reason the girls that end up at these cage fights are like really goody two-shoes, and already we find out that our heroine is not that girl, which I like. There's at least kind of a spin on this, you know, stereotypical romance opening. I don't know why it's so common in romance, but it is. I've already read like 2 or 3 books that open like this, but some wild shit goes down really early on in this first chapter, and instead of this being a successful fight, some shots ring out. There is a brawl that happens in the crowd. All hell breaks loose. So MK and her friend that she dragged to this underground fighting ring, they hightail it out of there, but MK is stopped by someone who knows her. She tells Bree to run. Bree runs, and she is kind of stuck there with this guy right on the outskirts of the abandoned theme park that this fight was happening at. He is like, I think I know you, and instead of engaging with him, she punches him in the face, and that's the end of the first chapter. And honestly, like, for such a stereotypical opening, I'm very much into it. I like the way that this is paced. I like the writing. I like the heroine already. She might be irritating. That's like the main complaint that I've seen about this story, that she's like too mean, but honestly I don't really care if she's too mean. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm gonna keep reading. I'll be doing these sorts of updates, I'm sure, as I read, because this is gonna be fun. I can feel it. So I'm only just finished with chapter 2, but this is so fucking fun. I just have to say, for the record, like, I'm loving this. So she gets accosted by this guy. His name is Zane, and he chases her back into this amusement park. He's like, you know, you shouldn't be here. I don't even know. He doesn't really like threaten her with anything in particular, but she's scared of him. She's running away. She obviously knows this guy who has stopped her, and she gets pulled aside as she's kind of like running through this maze of mirrors in this amusement park. She gets pulled aside by this guy who she doesn't know. He's got blue eyes and black hair, and I'm picturing Derek from Teen Wolf for some reason. Derek is what I'm gonna call him for now. Derek pulls her aside and is like, yo, I can save you from Zane, come and hang. And so she does that, and she's like getting all claustrophobic in this little tiny room, but she's able to kind of get away from Zane, and this guy, Derek or whatever, he takes her, and him and his 2 other friends are like, you shouldn't be here, you know, you shouldn't be involved in gang activities. How would your dad like this? Because apparently her dad's like some hot shot, and she's supposed to be a goody two-shoes, but she's not a goody two-shoes, obviously, because she's here. But they take her away from this amusement park, and they're like, your ride's gonna be here in a minute, just stay here. So the cops pull up, and apparently the cops are her ride. She is wearing one of the guy's hoodies, and she has a key in the pocket of the hoodie. I guess it's not her key, it's someone else's. The cops that like search her are like, what are you doing with the key to the amusement park? So you're gonna be arrested. And she tells them her name before she gets like, you know, cuffed, and they are like, you can't be Madison Kate, she's dead. We just found her body in the amusement park. And you're like, what? Like, what's going on? I don't think there's a supernatural element to this book, but I'm wondering if they did kind of mention that there was a girl who like was on the ground dying, who maybe looked like Madison Kate, and like maybe that's who they're gonna like identify as Madison Kate, as like dead, and maybe she's gonna live this like secret life now. I don't know. I don't know where the fuck this story is going, but like, I'm very into it. It's just so fast paced, and this is what I was looking for. Thank you, TikTok, for this. I shouldn't speak too soon, but like, I'm into it. And if she gets with any of the 3 guys, or all of those 3 guys, yes. Also, the guy that she was running from, I think I read in one of the Goodreads reviews that that's the guy that she also bangs, so it's like 4 dudes. Madison Kate, good for you. I'm gonna keep reading, but it's good. It's good so far. Okay, so it's not as like wild as I thought. Essentially, Madison Kate does get kind of framed for the incident at the Laughing Clown abandoned amusement park, and she's sent away to Cambodia for 11 months by her dad after this happens, because he thought that someone was after her, I guess, that night, because the girl that they identified as Madison Kate had a license she stole Madison's license, and that's, you know, I don't know why her dad thought that she was getting framed or something. I don't really know. Someone was after her. I'm not really sure. But the story is going in a direction that I didn't think it would go, and I'm kind of like into it. It's weird. It's unrealistic, but I like it. So after being made an example of, Madison is sent to Cambodia because her dad's like, you need some time away, and he kind of frames her. Not frames her, but he allows her to be framed for this crime because it makes him look good, and he's this businessman, and like he needs to make an example of his daughter. In the meantime, he has opened up his own university in her hometown and says that when she comes back from Cambodia, she can come back and go to this university, since her acceptance to the Ivy League that she got accepted into before all of this shit happened rescinded her acceptance. So he's like, you can come to SGU, which is Shadow Grove University, and you can come live with me. So she arrives back in town, and at the airport, one of the guys from that night, Riot Night is what they call it now because it's like this infamous thing, he says that he's here to pick her up because her dad sent him. So that's a little suspicious. I know it's the case that the 3 guys that helped her that night work for her dad, and I'm wondering if that's always been the case or if it's like a new thing. And I'm wondering if the reason that he let her take the fall for what had happened that night was because he's in leagues with some of the gangs, because we do know that he is in league with one of the gangs, both of the gangs. I don't know, there's a lot going on. I kind of just wanted to get with all these guys already. I don't know, it's reading pretty quickly. I think I'm like 12% into this book and I'm on chapter 4, so I feel like I'm gonna get done with this really quickly. I'm hoping to get to like 50% tonight. This juicy. It's very juicy. I don't even care that my hair looks stupid. This is so fanfiction-y. I'm living. I don't know if any of these guys are working for her dad, but Blue Eyes, aka the guy that I keep calling Derek, who I don't know the name of yet. Is his name Cody, is it? No. What's his name? I don't know. We haven't figured out his name yet. His mom is dating her dad. So we're getting like a faux stepbrother situation. Why is this so exactly what I needed right now? You know what? Sometimes books come into your life for a reason. And is this quality literature? No. Am I enjoying the fuck out of it? Absolutely I am. So we know one's name is Cody and one's name is Steele. The gray-eyed guy's name is Steele and the green-eyed guy's name is Cody. Cody I'm picturing as like a Spike from Buffy looking dude. I don't know why. None of these are probably accurate to what they actually look like, but I'm here for it. Okay, can we get this guy's name, please, for the love of God? Flipping through pages and I'm still not getting his name, so I'm not sure if we're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna keep calling him Derek. That's all. So many. Why is this book like this? I'm liking it. Okay. Essentially, I don't think I explained very well, but Blue Eyes, Derek, it's not actually his name. Wait, what did they say his name was? Archer. Oh, okay, so he was the fighter. I figured he was the fighter. So the guy that was fighting in the cage fight on Riot Night, he's called the Archer. I guess his actual name is Archer, so that's not a very inventive name, but at least his fighting name isn't like Macho Man the Hulk or something stupid like that. I feel like all the cage fighters in these stories have stupid names. Blue Eyes, aka Madison Kate's father's new girlfriend's son, and his 2 besties are living in Madison Kate's house now, and they're gonna like harass her, I'm sure, as she's in college and like whatever. But Archer is the brother of the guy that was chasing Madison Kate down. His name is Zane. Zane Dath? D''ATH. They have the same last name, so I'm assuming they're brothers. They could be cousins, but I'm gonna assume they're brothers. So many thoughts. I don't really understand what this is meaning. But the cool thing is, kind of unrelated sort of, I told you guys that Bree, Madison Kate's best friend, was dragged to Riot Night, to the Laughing Clown. They kind of lost touch because Bree was a minor at the time and like couldn't testify in favor of Madison Kate at the time. And so they kind of lost touch and like, I don't know, I didn't know if their friendship would be saved, but Madison Kate hit her up and Bree apologized immediately and now they're like friends again. I'm hoping that that continues, but I like that we don't have that like girl hate thing or like shitty best friend thing going on. So I don't know, this is defying expectations. It's not even 30 seconds later. I was right. Archer is the younger brother of Zane and he's like a famous fighter. Also, they point out that it's a really stupid nickname, fighter name, because it's his actual name. They also make a meta fucking joke about this being a reverse harem. I don't know, I'm gonna scream. So she tells Bree on the phone that these are the guys that framed her, and then she says, oh shit, so you're not going to be creating your own reverse harem out of your new living arrangements then? You know what, Tate James, you are that bitch. You absolutely are. Oh, I need to stop. I'm only like, I'm 16% into this book. Like that is where I'm at. Maybe I'll just like update, like I'll put the little, no, I won't do that because I'm not smart enough to do that. I don't know how I'm going to differentiate all of these clips when I edit this. This is probably not going to make sense to anyone. I'm just going to keep updating because I'm having a good time. I kind of just want to give, I want to give this book 5 stars and I'm only 17% in. So There was a joke that occurred between Archer and Madison Kate. I'm just gonna start calling her MK because that's a stupid fucking name. That I chuckled for a good minute. I kind of had a tear in my eye for a second. And then we find out that Zane murdered Madison Kate's mom. So that's interesting, and I'm wondering why Madison's dad would marry someone whose son killed his ex-wife, or dead wife. I don't know, man, but this is gold. This is everything that I wanted, and I think I'm just getting more and more unhinged as this vlog goes on, because I DNF'd 2 books that I think more people would enjoy than this one, and yet I don't care. I just don't care. What the fuck is going on? Okay, I literally can't make this shit up. This is gonna be my last clip of the night because I am Mama, you can call me Mama, in this video only. It's 10:30 and I'm fucking tired. The first chef my father had employed, after the massacre that saw my mother die alongside our entire household staff, had been an Australian guy called Steve. That's really just like what I've been getting this whole book. I did not do a good job at explaining that in the past few clips, but yeah, that's flavor and just like subtlety we've been getting the whole book. I'm 22% in and I'm having a grand old time. I think I'll be able to finish this tomorrow, which is perfect because it's January and this is getting posted in February, and I'd be very overjoyed if I could get this done quickly. No one cares. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I just thought we could share today. I could share. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'll be back bright and bushy-tailed tomorrow to give you all the MK details that you so crave and desire. I know you do, because I'm making this book sound really good, and you know what? It's fun. So get you a Kindle Unlimited subscription and get you this book. Okay, we're gonna ignore that. I'm 54% into Hate by Tay James. I'm still having a really good fucking time, not gonna lie. I don't know how much I should be updating you guys at this point, because I realized since I DNF'd the first 2 books that I didn't really spoil anything, you know? I never really know what people consider to be spoilers. Like, if I talk about the plot at all, is that a spoiler? Or if it's just like, I spoil plot twists, is that a spoiler? I don't really know. And I don't know if I want to keep the spoiler free or not, but I think I'm just gonna tell you guys what's been happening. So I'm 50% in, and in that time we're getting more dynamics between MK and the 3 guys. Archer, Cody, aka Kodiak, and Steele. It's interesting. I'm gonna say, and I think I kind of maybe hinted at this when I was telling you guys about it yesterday, but the story is so wildly unrealistic and ridiculous, but I think the reason I'm enjoying it so much is because it's very self-aware. There are multiple times in the book where MK points out like how wild what's going on is. At one point she says, it's almost like I'm starring in a new adult romance novel or something. And like, yes, that's cheesy, but I'm also like glad that it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, I think I would be upset if this book was trying to be serious, and it's not. I feel like though, my feelings are changing a little bit about this book, mostly because MK is getting a little bit irritating to me. Like, I understand her anger at the fact that she was a scapegoat for something she didn't do. Her dad really sucks. She just got off the phone with her dad, or Archer got off of the phone with her dad, and she like overheard on speakerphone her dad talking about her, and he is very, he's the worst, right? I can understand her anger, especially towards the guys as well. But the whole like vengeance plotline is getting a little bit irritating kind of quickly. And while I'm liking the sexual tension between her and the other guys, I just wish that she would chill a little bit. Although I'm not sure really what the vibe of the book would be if she just was nice to everybody and slept with them all super quickly. Is it annoying to read someone just being like mad all the time? Yeah, but I also don't know what emotion that should be replaced with for the story to work, so can't be too upset about it. It just, all the dialogue and shit's making me laugh. MK said to Archer, take your ground rules and shove them straight up your ass and quit the domineering act 2, you're no Christian Grey. He replies, no, I'm worse. I don't know. I'm very into it. It's so ridiculous. Like, trigger warning for pretty much anything you can think of. I will say too that the guys are definitely very controlling, so if that's not something that you're okay with in your books, then like maybe don't read it. But I think the reason they're controlling is because they're trying to protect her. I mean, that's kind of why guys are controlling in books, right? But I'm not saying that me enjoying this book is a sign that you will enjoy this book or that it's even like quality literature, and I'm pretty sure that I've said that, but just want to make that very, very clear. This is for a particular type of reader, and if you want something just out of the box, ridiculous, over the top, I think you might like this. But if none of what I've been saying has interested you, then don't pick this book up. I think you'll figure out pretty quickly within the first chapter or 2 if this is something that's gonna work for you, because it's ridiculous, but it's really, really fun. So I'm gonna just keep reading. My hair doesn't even look bad today, but I was like, I'm just gonna get it out of my face, and that was clearly a mistake. It's like 7:30 and I'm gonna finish this book today. Actually, I'm 60% into this book, so yes, let's see if I can finish this, because I'd like to move on to Nightfall by Penelope Douglas for a different vlog. So I'm sort of a mess. Okay, I'm gonna go. Maybe in the next clip I'll have my hair down and like look slightly better, probably not, but. Okay, so I actually ended up finishing Hate by Tay James before I could update you guys anymore, but I think it's for the best because even though I did kind of detail a lot of what happens in the beginning of the book, I didn't spoil the main conflict in the book, which I think is important because I feel like if you're watching this just for fun, you might now be interested in reading this book, and I think you should pick it up because I had a really good time with it. Was it quality literature? Not necessarily, like this is not gonna win any awards, but it was so fun, and I think sometimes people just want a little bit of escapism. That being said, this is not like a lighthearted read, but if you want something that is just going to completely immerse you, is going to feel familiar if you've read a lot of like new adult or like dark romances, this is definitely something that I think you're gonna enjoy. Like I really had a good time reading this, and I think I like would rate it 4 stars, to be honest. Like, you know, no shame in my game, I had a good time, and I'm definitely going to continue on with the series because this left off on like a fairly big cliffhanger and I have to know what happens next. Again, I don't really want to like spoil what happened, but I will say, in the interest of sharing, MK does get with one of the guys and she kisses all 3 of the ones that are in this book. We also find out more about Zane and kind of what he had to do with MK's mom's murder, which is fascinating, and I think we're slowly starting to unfold some of the secrets of what's going on and maybe MK's dad's like secret dealings and a little bit more about this like gang feud between the Reapers and the Wraith. There's a lot that's going on in this book, and I'm liking it. I will say there was some stuff that kind of bothered me near the end of the book, which is why this isn't going to be a 5-star read. It also seems kind of weird to give this book 5 stars just because I'm not ashamed of anything that I like reading, but this is definitely not something that I'm going to recommend to everyone or something that I think is like 5-star material. That sounds bad. Like, this is a fun thing, but I think I could admit that this is not a perfect book, so that's why it's like a 4-star for me. But what I was trying to say is that there's a moment where one of our heroes punches some glass and that glass hits our heroine. While there's no violence used against our heroine by any of the heroes, like, you know, like on her person, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and that's something that I just don't like, especially since they were taking on this protector role. That sort of like rubbed me the wrong way a bit, but I don't know, there was something that happened at the end of the book too that like I'm just really curious to see what the answer will be to what happened. I don't know, a lot happened. Honestly, a wild time. Before I wrap this up, I do want to say that I also read the author's note at the back of the book, which I literally never do. I think if you read this book, I would recommend reading it. I think it gives you not perspective about the story, but just like about the author. She had this like really touching tribute to her mom, which I personally found really sweet. So I liked this, and TikTok definitely didn't lead me astray. This was a really fun book, and now I think I'm ready to kind of reflect on this experience. So the first book that I attempted to read was American Queen by Simone. This book obviously didn't work for me. I can understand why people on TikTok enjoy this book. It's definitely raunchy. If you're someone who's annoyed by book talk mostly focusing on YA books and touting them as sexy, then I think this is something that is definitely a lot compared to that. So I think I can understand why people like it. It wasn't horribly written or anything. There were just some deal breakers for me that I discussed at the beginning of this video, so it was just kind of a miss for me, but I feel like I probably should have known that since it is Simone, and I have read other books by her and like they haven't been successes either, so I'm not that upset about that one. Then I picked up King of the South, and that one was I think the one that let me down the most just because I assumed that I was going to like it. I love historical romance, the cover's gorgeous, description's fun, but it was just so dull. I don't know, I feel like the way that this was described made it sound a whole lot sexier, steamier than it really was. Yeah, this was disappointing, but I'm glad that I did get to it because there's a lot of romances that just kind of languish on my Goodreads TBR that I never get to, and this was probably going to be one of those, but getting to actually try it out, even if it didn't work for me, like I'm glad that that happened. And then lastly, we have Hate by Tay James, which was just a fun ride. I have not had this much fun reading a book in a while, and I've read some really good books in January, so to say that this was fun I think is very apt. And I think if you are someone who is used to the genre of new adult, I would highly recommend it. Also, I should write new adult right here, because every time I say new adult in a video, everybody thinks I'm saying noodle, like the, you know, thing you eat. New adult romance. If you're used to new adult romance, I think you will enjoy this. It's got some kind of like Paper Princess-y vibes in it. It's got some Boys of Brayshaw High vibes, but in my opinion, like elevated and more self-aware. So I appreciated it. I don't know, I had a good time. I hope with those comparisons you can kind of understand like what this book is going to be. I'm always so hesitant to talk super highly of things that I know have issues, because I don't want people to go into this and assume that this is going to be like incredible, but I had a great time reading it, and I have no shame in my game. So I loved this. I thought it was super fun, and I'm definitely going to continue on with the series. So TikTok definitely didn't miss. This is one that I don't think I would have picked up on my own just because of the cover. It seems like just a little cheesy for me, and now that I think about it, I mostly just pick up covers that have dudes on them, or if it's a historical romance, have like both people on the cover. So I think the cover would have turned me off from this one, but I'm glad I picked it up. So this experiment has showed me how easily influenced I am to pick up things that I wouldn't necessarily pick up on my own, and sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I'm okay with that. I have another one of these coming soon. I was at Target recently and I saw a display of books and I was like, well, I'm gonna read all of these because these are pretty and it would make for a good video. So that's coming next. If you want to see a Target chooses my TBR video, it's coming, and hopefully it'll be a little more successful than this one. But I hope you guys had a good time watching this. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this at all. I had a fun time doing it, and I think my commentary was hopefully like a little funny despite me not loving most of these books. But let me know too if you have any recommendations or suggestions for other like easily influenced things I could do. I'm thinking I might go to Bookstagram, I might go to like Kindle Unlimited and try to get like inspiration. I have a couple of ideas. Also, I was looking at my Kindle lock screen recently and I was like, there's always ads for books. Like maybe I could do like a Kindle lock screen video. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Let me know in the comments if you've got any good ideas. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and until next Sunday.